Hello calligraphers. This video has been a long time coming and it's been very frustrating to make because I've been working on my presentation piece and quite frankly failing badly. So in my idea of you learn more from watching mistakes than successes, I'm going to show you some of my great failures on this and some of the solutions that I am going to work on before I put this down using my best paper and my best ink. So give me a chance here to change the camera position to focus on our work, and then we'll get right back at it. Here we are. This is the attempt to draw something close to what my presentation would look like. And as you can see, I stopped it pretty quickly, even though I had measured off the paper. Here's the center point. Here's the center word. And here are those two sloping sides. You'll have to check the last video for me showing you how to do that. But I wanted to work on a Roman column on the side, and I want you to take a look here. Those lines are not very straight. This is what happens when you try to freehand lines. This doesn't look too badly here. Here's a problem. Right on this edge. Didn't quite keep a steady hand, and you see how the ink came out. This swirl here is pretty nice. It's lovely, that thin line that we can get. The of looks good, the the is not bad, and I like the way that T came out a little bit, but once again, a little bit of a bulge up here. And here is the reason why. I was trying to use a pointed pen, and for a stroke that's over an inch long here, the pointed pen won't necessarily hold the tines so that this will stay in place. You'll get wiggles like this, and even here, try to get this really close. You can see how even that pull down line shows a little bit of wiggle in it, as does the loop. We do have a way to solve that though. Our good old-fashioned C-nib. The C-nib will hold its shape on lines much better than the pointed pen. So let's take a look here. I'll do that art again. And by the way, there is nothing that says we can't use two different types of pens. I might use this to make that little circle right here, that point, and then off of that I can make that long, thin, sweeping stroke here. There we go. Then the pull down will be much steadier because I'm using the C-nib. And then if I need to, I can switch back over to the pointed pen to make the loop if I need to. All right, didn't have enough ink in there, but you get the idea. You can use different pens even on the same letter. So I might actually, let's give that a whirl here, see how that looks. Again for the A, point, and then for that thicker down pull, I'll use the C-nib and then for the loop here, that would have been pretty if I'd finished it off. There it goes. Now I think this A looks so much better than this A, which I tried to do all with just the pointed pen. So we can make a letter, and I'll get it closer here. That's a pretty darn good A. And you can see it has much more style to it than this one up here, where I was trying to use just one type of pen. So how do we handle these straight lines? As you can see, they're not very straight. Freehanding it is tough. Well, I'm going to show you the secret. And the secret is in my old drafting set. Right here. Take a look at this thing. It has an adjustable tine, and the reservoir is an open reservoir right inside. Can you see that? There we are. I can change this to make a very wide line or a very narrow one. And most importantly, the bottom is flat, which means if I keep ink off of it, I can use a ruler. So let's see what happens. I'll just put my ruler down and I'll ink up right in between, just a drop right in there. And then I can squeeze it by tightening it up. Can you watch this drop? Squeeze down to the end. Almost. I'll have it too far up. I'll have to put a little more ink in there. There we go. So there we have it. You can see the ink in between there. All right, let's try it. I don't have any ink here, which means I can make a perfectly straight line. I want the line to be thicker. I just open it up. Look at that. And I think this, I can make it micro thin. This is how I'm going to do those Roman columns, is using this drafting tool. Missed the thing. There it goes. Now I did a few of those earlier just as practice. And here's how they turned out. Nice and straight because I can go along a straight edge. Can you find these anymore? Are they made? And the answer is, I don't know. So what's going to be our second best guess? In my opinion, the second best out of this is once again your C-nib. You will have to find a ruler that you don't mind getting a little bit dirty. See, there's a little bit of residue there. See it on my finger? But as you can see, the line has a very good chance of being straight. It also might soak underneath, so you don't want to have a lot of ink on it. It's not as good as our drafting tool that used to be used for old blueprints when you would put the white ink on the blue sheets. But as you can see, that is a very straight line, and if you manage your ink, you'll have to practice it. You might not get this bleed under like you have right here. You'll have to be very careful with how you apply the ink to your nib. Probably most of it will have to go in the reservoir here and nothing underneath. Then we really have to mash down, and let's see if we can do that. I still have some ink in the reservoir. And it didn't soak underneath. So we want to make sure the ink is in the reservoir in between the top and the tines. See right there? There's still some ink in there. And then, if you want a narrower, this is a C4. You could go to C5 to make it narrower. You could get larger with C2 or C3. I think C3 would be a very, very pretty nib to do this with, because you'll get a nice dramatic line on that, and that could be used for a border. Now you can start using your ruler to make geometric shapes on your border if you wish. Think about some of those old Etruscan shapes where they had combinations of triangles like this. So by keeping the ink in the reservoir only and not on the bottom, nothing on the bottom there, it's all pressing through when we press down, we're making very nice straight lines using a ruler. This is still the gold standard on that because I can change the size of lines. But finding these, except maybe in an auction like eBay would probably be a good place to look for them, but people overcharge there. I just don't know what the solution is. I have two. If anybody wants to borrow, I can do the second one. Well, why would you keep a second one? Just really quickly, a good compass straight edge drafting tool, I can take the pencil lead out and put the ink in, and now I can draw circles using this. I will try one brief one and then we'll end the video here. There we go. Let's see how this works. Yep, and that's how we're going to do some of our circular designs on our paper. All right, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this. There's a lot of trouble and a lot of time in making a presentation piece. It's a lot harder than a lot of other art forms, but guess what? It is really satisfying when you get it done. And now we have a way to do straight lines and curves using these drafting nibs. And if not, we'll just have fun with them. There we are. All right, have a good day, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Keep trying, and if you want to, take a picture of what you're doing and send it to me on email. I'd really appreciate it. Bye-bye.